What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Mixa Six Live. You can find us at Central PA Pour on all your social media stuff. This is Mixa Six Live presented to you by Central PA Pour. On all of our social media, you will find our link tree in our bios. If you want to be a part of this awesome program we got going on every Wednesday at 8 p.m., hit up that link tree, scroll down to the very bottom, and you will see a sign-up sheet for Mixa Six Live. In that same vein, if you want to be a part of our full-length episodes, there is a guest form you can fill out there as well. Now, the whole idea behind this Mixa Six Live is to go and give you a brief 30, 45-minute program every Wednesday night at 8, and we are going to try to feature as many guests as possible, and we're going to cover a six-pack of topics. So on the guests, whatever you're trying to share, we're here for. We have largely focused in the beer industry, craft beer industry of Central Pennsylvania. We've had a distillery on, shout out Mason Dixon. However, if you have content to share, you have a good word to spread, we would love to have you on the program. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to bring in our guests, and we are going to get our six-pack cracking here. So, welcome my guest, Anthony Blackwell Jr. from the Abj Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Let's
Anthony,
crack them. I don't
how,
know what that means.
how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be episode 1, and I've been watching you guys for a while, grinding out over on the CPP. I like it because I'm a wrestling fan, so I like those little 3 abbreviated things.
Nice.
We will abbreviations, but thank you for having me.
Of course, we will get into how we met. We will get into some of that wrestling stuff that you and I both love. But for now, we're going to show the people. Oh, there we go.
Little Rock and Roll Express
Rock
for
and Roll Express. Right now, I'm going to show the people our six-pack for this evening. I put this out on social. Hopefully, you guys got a chance to check it out. I'm going to give you a brief rundown on each one of these, Anthony being one of them. But we got Haymauer Brewing Company, Fat Bat Brewing Company, Icarus Brewing Company, Liquid Hero Brewery, and then I'm going to touch on the CPP recent schedule because Dave, Dad, and Brett are still rocking away on those full-length episodes, and then we're going to dive into Anthony's new adventure, the Abj Podcast. So
let's get it.
First one we got coming up for you, Haymauer Brewing Company. Now, Brooks Haymauer, if you guys haven't met him, he was one of our first guests. He was actually the first guest that allowed us to go into his tap room, go into his industry, and we set up shop right in his tap room, and he so graciously gave us, his weeknight, and we recorded there. And we have had a great relationship with Brooks ever since. If you have had the pleasure of visiting his establishment, you will notice that there was no kitchen. There's no food. They have events sometimes where you can bring in a food truck. Well, that is going to be the case no longer because they have went in and they have purchased a food truck, and it was previously owned by Smoking Pickles Butcher Shop, but they have now they purchased a food truck. And if you know anything about this industry, you have probably come across a certain individual or a certain company where they've had some shortcomings as far as the full kitchen operation goes. So they have that struggle no longer. They are working on the food menu. They're going to park that puppy out back behind the tap room, and you can just order online. You order from the tap room itself, and they will hook you up with that good food. So keep an eye out for that menu. Next up on the six-pack. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Real quick, it is a cool thing. I know Jersey has a struggle with this right now because the Jersey laws that craft breweries are going through are absolutely hellish and nightmarish. But I know like one of my spots doesn't have a kitchen, and it's hard during the week to get food trucks always there. But it's cool when breweries do local collaborations with like the restaurants in town, and you just order and they deliver, right? And you could eat in the bar, and it's so the brewery's actually helping other businesses with their deliveries and getting services, which is dope too. Because if you're new to like say Pottsville, so I'll use the one example for me is Pilgaroo. If you go to Pilgaroo in Pottsville, they don't have a kitchen. They have great beers, great environment, everything there is fantastic. But if you want food, you're like, oh man, Pottsville's got some nice places to eat. You just order it up, comes right to you, and then you're experiencing other businesses in Pottsville without even leaving the bar. So that is a beautiful thing about craft beer, where it outreaches outside the bar and helps other businesses obtain some. And if you want that experience too, the brewery is like, hey man, right up the street, it's literally walking distance. There's 3 places you can go eat, and then just come back when you're done. And it's cool that the industry's helping each other. Listen listen to that,
Absolutely.
Jersey. See how they help each other. It's a good thing, Jersey. Relax.
Thanks for bringing that up because we got an echo.
Really? I don't hear it.
Yeah, I got you. Thanks for bringing that up. No, because we have encountered a ton of people that happens with. Liquid Hero, for example, as well. They have a bunch of deals. They just come out and say, hey, go out and support local, like you said, bring it back here, no problem. Or they have they have regular food truck rotations, whatever the deal it may be. And thank you for bringing up that Jersey thing, because we're going to get into that in a little bit later. But man, yeah, Haymauer, they were serving cereal during that whole pandemic issue, where you had to serve food in PA. They were serving out boxes of cereal with their stinking beers.
I love that.
So next up on the 6-pack, we got Hops and Vines for Hunger. Now, there are 34 participants participating in this, but I saw Fat Bat Brewing share it, and we have a previous relationship with them. So that's why I kind of wanted to highlight some of their participation. So again, Fat Bat Brewing, Hanover, Pennsylvania. For all of November, you go in there and you buy their Ringer IPA, and $1 of that will go towards the PA Eats and the Hops and Vines for Hunger program. And not only that, every Friday night they have guest bartenders in there, and 100% of the tips towards those guest bartenders, that money is going to the donations as well.
Yo, let's go guest bartend.
Hey, that don't sound like a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm into it.
They were the top donation from the previous year. This is the second annual edition for Hops and Vines for Hunger campaign. So yeah, the guest bartender, that don't sound that bad, and it's for a good cause, as a lot of their other stuff is. So if you're able to, check out Fat Bat Brewing in Hanover.
I'd be like, one for you, one for me.
Who wants a round? Gosh. So yeah, another one. I know this came out in July, and I've kind of been, haven't been on the full length episodes in a while, so I didn't get a chance to speak on this topic. Actually, before we get into this, you cracking a beer? You already got one cracked?
I am. I'm drinking in a Neshaminy Creek here. It is the Shape of Haze to Come. I like me some peach flavored stuff, so this is a hazy imperial pale ale with peaches and lactose, double dry hopped. It's pretty good. I like it a lot.
Awesome.
Peaches and cream, yeah.
Oh man, I cracked a crowler. I'm not going to hold it up because I got the blur turned on, but I cracked a crowler from our guys at Liquid Hero, and I'm going with the American Hero.
Love that. And then I'm drinking out of my Bright Path glass out of Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. So
nice.
Now's the time right now with the fall foliage and everything going on to head over to Jim Thorpe and see the downtown Jim Thorpe, old section of Jim Thorpe. And while you're there, go to the other side and head up the hill and go to Bright Path and drink some good beers.
There you go. Sounds like a good time. Oh, here we go. My
really
buddy
good.
Travis, Mix of Six Live. Thanks for tuning in, pal.
My wife's going to be sneaking in the background. She's bringing some bags for me.
Oh, no problem. I understand. I will get started on my soapbox about this next. As I was saying, I think this news came out in June or July, but I haven't been, exactly on the forefront of these CPP shows as of late. So I'm going to shout out to breweries in PA for all the awesome stuff that they do here. But
they're amazing.
Oh yeah, good guys. I got the majority of this information from one of their articles that they shared, basically poo-pooing on this whole fucking thing here. But essentially, New Jersey government has decided to hand down some rather egregious, unprecedented governing changes, as you alluded to earlier. And what we've tried to do on this platform is give small businesses a platform to be able to tell us their story, tell us what they're all about. And some of these laws, they're like literally putting small business in jeopardy. And it's
It's
Uh,
not, and it's not so much the lawmakers. It's there.
right,
From what I've been on the understanding is that a lot of the lawmakers are being pressured by the food and restaurant industry, and
right, yep, yep,
they're the ones who are essentially telling the politicians that they're losing so much industry in the food and restaurant because the breweries are doing well, which is insane to me. Like, I don't
I
know.
don't have the stats on
People
hand, but
travel from other places to a brewery to experience the town and enjoy.
right,
Like, that's what the craft beer scene's about. Like, people drive. We were just the other day. We were at the bar, and there was 5 people from Pittsburgh who drove 4 hours to come to this small town because they heard about the brewery. And while they were there, they wanted to experience downtown Pottsville. You know what I mean? It's like that's a thing.
yeah,
And they want to experience the community. They're not just there for the beers. You know what I mean?
yep, yep. Yeah, and if these places shut down, I don't have the stats on hand, but yeah, like many other states across the country, Jersey is on the up and up with breweries. So like
Hmm.
these things are just going to put a damper on that, and it's very unfortunate. So listen to some of these bullshit arbitrary limitations we got here. 25 on-site activities per year, and that includes trivia, live music, and a few other things. And I know places that do that every week. So you know what? That right there,
Yeah.
that's 52 off the rip. You want to throw in a weekend or whatever. People are doing bingo, trivia all throughout the week just to get that public engagement. And
Yeah,
you're going to try to put
most
a cap
bars on
on
a
that.
Thursday night have trivia night. Every
Yeah,
Thursday. It's a way to bring
yeah.
people into the bar, and you're telling them they can only do what was it? 25 a year?
25 on-site activities per year. That's what, one every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Bullshit. Okay, next one. 52 private parties per year. So that's one a week. However, what about the other 6 days of the week? It's really just putting a damper on how, on one of the avenues that small business can go about making a buck. 12 off-premise events per year is the next one. So like I don't know how many festivals, how many other things they potentially have going on, but like it's just again another bullshit arbitrary limitation that again big restaurant unfortunate. Not only are there arbitrary limitations, but they have certain things prohibited. Tell me if these make any sense to you. You can't sell coffee on site. You can't coordinate with food vendors and food trucks, like we just talked about several people in our area doing. You can't sell food or operate a restaurant. No specialty cocktails using malt alcohols, and you can't offer free drinks to guests. And from what I was reading, Jersey was one of the places that incentivized COVID shots with free beers. So thanks, government. That one seems like it's biting you in the ass right there. And last but not least, no happy hour pricing. You know, ever since we've been on this adventure for about a year, it has mostly been positive, awesome stuff, sharing this platform with as many people as we could. But this is probably the first negative thing that I can think of us coming across. So, dude,
When I do wrestling commentary, I do a lot in New Jersey, and I play the heel, like the Bobby Heenan,
oh yeah,
and Jersey just makes it so easy for me. You know what I mean? I walk in as soon as the show starts, I say, "What a dump we're in! We're in Jersey." And normally 9 times out of 10, craft beer laws somehow make it into my wrestling commentary. I'm not even joking. I did.
dude.
We
Hey,
were
you're
gonna
on
go
the up and
enjoy a
up.
beer, but I couldn't get any food because this state's a dump.
Oh shit, that makes it easy for you.
Mhm.
Hey, Brett. Brett says I'm drinking with you
Yeah,
too.
Brett did say hi to me. I didn't want to ignore him, but I didn't
Oh,
want to
okay,
slow down your
I
pace
got
here.
you.
You were killing it.
No, no problem, no problem.
But
450
hey, Brett,
North
what's up, man?
Double XL slushy s'mores cheesecake. Jesus, Brett, you're combining two of your favorite things there: dessert and beer. I was planning on capping this at half an hour, but good lord, it's already 15 deep, and we're only 2, 3 into our six pack. Goodness gracious! I
It
didn't.
might be a
I
four,
didn't even get.
it might be a
I
45 minute. You know what I mean?
might be a 45 minute. I didn't even get to the good part of Brew Jersey and why I actually wanted to mention it on the show. And you see it scrolling along the bottom here. So basically, we have Brick City Brewing Company out of Little Ferry and Icarus Brewing Company out of Lakewood. They teamed up with KZG Group, a government and public affairs organization, and they're running this campaign. And they're asking for breweries across the country, not only in the state of New Jersey. They're asking for breweries across the country to participate in this collaboration with them. So basically, you go on brewjersey.beer and you fill out an application as a brewery to get involved with this awesome adventure. You print out your labels and everything, and then you do the recipe. And essentially, what they're asking is that 25% of all of your profits from this adventure go back to the Brewers Guild of New Jersey. Because
That's a
as we mentioned earlier,
cool thing.
they're obviously taking a hit because of these limitations that we touched on.
And the craft beer world is a great place to do this. I'm sure if they had like a petition and they said, "Hey, craft beer world, sign this petition," we'd fill it in a month. We'd fill it in a week. The same thing that they're doing here, they've done for during any all types of movements where they just like send a recipe out and hundreds and thousands of breweries get together and make the same recipe and do their own versions of it. The Black is Beautiful is the first one that pops in my head is when everyone jumped in on that one and they made some banger beers with that collaboration.
Yep,
So that's the beautiful thing about being in this industry, man. Everyone's so awesome.
Everyone's working together. Everybody's so awesome. And what was the last thing on that I wanted to touch on is that keep an eye out. We mentioned how you can help if you are a brewery. You go fill out the application and get involved. Keep an eye out for news coming in December as to how you can help as a consumer. So again, brewjersey.beer. And you will find out the information you need on that note. So the last one is just the last news, the last beer that doesn't have to involve us two directly is just a quick blip on the Liquid Hero Golf Tournament that I participated in on October. Oh, you got it, dude. It's been a little bit too. I haven't exactly indulged in that many craft beers lately. So
first time I drank on camera in a while.
Oh shit. So middle of October, Liquid Hero Golf Tournament put on an outing at the Outdoor Country Club in York. I participated in that with a couple buddies, and we sponsored a hole. It was an absolutely awesome event. Christian, one of the owners at Liquid Hero, was out there shaking hands, kissing babies, and blasting drives right down the fairway. And they are looking to continue that event. This was the second annual outing. And I believe last I heard, they were trying to have that event on a rotational series with golf courses in the area. And I cannot forget to mention that was for the love of a veteran. So give them a look, for the love of a veteran.org. They are, I know Brett does some business with them as well. They are a great organization to be involved with. And Brett says, for the love of a veteran Inc. Thank you, Brett. Another great organization to be involved with. I will have that tournament on my agenda for the upcoming years because Christian's a great dude for a great cause. And that is that. So, Tony, you golf?
I mini golf. I'm a beast.
Mini golf.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I got you.
Not so much with the regular golf. I tried. I own a set of clubs. My problem is like if I'm not good at something right away, I get frustrated. And golf is one of those things. If you suck, and then everyone starts piling up behind you, you get a little anxious and nervous. So I went golfing like twice with my dad, and it was just a nightmare. And I just quickly got out of that.
It's a science. It's a very hard thing to do, and if you are competitive, like me, and it sounds like you as well, it's not easy. So, like, if you suck at it, dude, it's frustrating. Actually, in the past few years, I've learned to give less shits about it, have more fun, and that is, I don't want to say I'm like great by any means, but my game has improved, and I'm having a good time while I'm out there.
If you need someone to roll with you guys from all 18 holes who doesn't play and just hangs out, I'm your guy. You know what I mean? I'll get in the cart. I'll drink with you all day. I'll party, and I'll make it entertaining. But I'm just not going to golf.
I got you.
Maybe I'll bring an air horn and hide in the bushes, like in Jackass. Remember that?
I do.
I hope you guys win.
I think we got Dad logged into the CPP account here. Hi from Missouri, he says. He's out
There he
traveling
is.
for work this week. What's up, Pops? I'm drinking out of your Cheers mug that you got me from Boston. So, again, one more thing I got to touch on before we get into Anthony's background here, and that is our recent CPP episodes. So, we launched season 2 a few months ago. Number 1 on that was Luke from Brewscasters. We have released the second and third episodes of season 2 as well with Scrubby's Craft Brewery and CNC Brewing Factory. All phenomenal people, and we look forward to building a relationship with them going forward. Our next release is actually out this Saturday, and that will be with Gift Horse Brewing. And thank you, Brett, for in the comments here. So Stony Run Brewhouse as well. That will be coming up later this month. We're recording that. So I keep talking about ourselves here, Anthony. We'll get to your stuff in a minute because I can't wait for that conversation.
Take your time.
So
I'm learning as well. This is fun.
If we can rewind all the way back to the start of our show, probably last December, our first guest was Tim March from Stony Run Brewhouse. And he was actually nervous as well as we all were too. You know, it was our first time in this adventure having a guest on the show. He actually came and we sat and we recorded in my my dad's room at his house. So that being the only guest on season 1 where we didn't go and visit their establishment. So we are making that up to Tim in the near future, and we're going to be recording in Stony Run Brewhouse. And that is...
If I have a recommendation on a place you should go or a guy you should talk to, Guy from Rusty Rail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is the guy. That guy is the guy. You know what I mean? If you need someone to drink beer, talk wrestling, and just have a good time with, Guy is your guy. You know what I'm saying? We showed up for their millionth can of Fog Monster. They reached out to us and invited us towards the end of our little run here that we'll talk about in a moment. And they were so accommodating. He was such a sweetheart. And my God, we had such a blast. I'm a huge fan of Rusty Rail. And we learned a lot about their brewery, a lot about what they go through, and how surprisingly small their operation is, but how much quantity they put out. Yeah.
So
check. Definitely reach out. Tell him that Anthony from former Bang and Beers recommended. He's a great dude.
I got you. So the last beer in our 6-pack is you and all of your awesome content and then the journey that you have been on throughout. So,
and if you set that Rusty Rail up, I want to come in as a guest because if there's an excuse to drink Rusty Rail, I'd love to be a part of it. You know, actually,
done deal.
I always keep them close at heart. You know what I mean?
You got to build a relationship, keep it close. So, guys, if you are following along, take your phone, scan that QR code, and you will find Anthony's link tree. And on there, you will find everything that this dude's doing. Merch, follow all of his pages, subscribe to his YouTube channel. And with all that, I'm going to go on a bit of a story about how our paths crossed. So, probably about a year ago, we started with this whole podcast idea. You know, we started, what I don't want to say competition, but like what else is out there in the
friendly
industry?
Competition is good. If you find other people and they inspire you to start making content, then that's a good thing. And especially if you reach out to said person and they're like, hey, let's work together. That's also great. And that's what you should do. And then obviously it's like, man, look at they're getting 100 subscribers. Let's try to get us to 100. Like friendly competition to motivate each other and keep you on path is a healthy thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And there's room for all of us, really.
A lot of beer to drink.
Absolutely. So we came across Bang and Beers podcast about a year ago, and I don't know if you remember this, but the first show that I listened to, I think it was with Treehouse, and the intro music was backwards. It's just a random small nugget that I remember because I think.
I played the outro instead of the intro.
You played the outro first, and
Beers happen.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like this face melting metal shit, and I was like, yeah, let's go, and then got into the beer talk. But then later I found out, okay, that's the outro music. But
yeah.
Anyways, so
when you're a one-man operation, it can get a little tricky.
I bet. So I Let me switch this out here. Scan the QR code for Anthony's link tree. There we go. So I follow you guys all on your social. I found out you have this whole IWEP network. Hell, that's a mouthful. And not only do you have the Bangin' Beers, you have the Truth Behind Illusions. I get that right?
Yep.
Tornado Tag.
Yep.
You're gonna have to
Not cool in high school and interviews with everyday people. There was 5 shows that I was doing at one time for 4 years, and it was stupid. Should have never done that.
So what was the original intent behind the IWEP network?
So it wasn't even a network. To start off, it was interviews with everyday people. And essentially what I wanted to do was interview small business, interview people who had extraordinary stories, who have gone through some things that they can express their stories to people and help them out, inspire them to be better. My tagline to it was everyone has a story. You know, we live in a world right now where we're so divided, whether it be politically or racially or orientation or religion. And it's like if you really break people down and away from all that stuff, we're all similar and we've all gone through things. But we're so fascinated about what a celebrity's doing or someone who's made it is doing. But you don't talk to your neighbor down the street and find out where they came from, what they're about. You know what I mean? They're just that neighbor down the street, you know? And I kind of want to break those barriers down. And a lot of that was through, you know, this liquid courage right here. I would go to bars with my buddy's band and help them set up. And I didn't play an instrument. I would just get drunk and take a microphone and sing about halfway through the night. But I got to the point where I was just sitting in bars and I'm a good conversationalist. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I can talk. And I would just sit and talk to these people. And I'm like, yeah, you have a really fascinating story. And they're like, no, I don't. I'm like, your story is very motivational. I think if someone could, like, if you can put that on, like, if it was out there for people to listen to, I think you would motivate people to become better. And they're like, and people don't even realize how powerful their stories can be unless someone like breaks down. Like I was essentially like breaking down their life. I'm like, yo, you could have went this way or this way, but you chose this way. Like you're killing it. And they're like, I am like, it kind of gave them confidence, you know? And I was like, man, I should do this. And then at the time I was already listening to people like Kevin Smith and stuff like that. And then my buddy's like, you should be a podcaster. Like you're always a good conversationalist. You can talk about anything. It could be any topic like this. I think you found that's your niche. So as a Kevin Smith fan, I went and I have all these collectibles and nerdy stuff and I sold all of it. And I bought, because I'm not a wealthy person, but I used that money to set up my show. And then I started interviews with everyday people and I had all this equipment. And I thought, man, I want to do this with my friends. And I have people who are very knowledgeable about certain things. And then it spawned into wrestling. And then it spawned into paranormal, supernatural, cryptid. And then it spawned into pop culture with video games, comic book, and movies and horror movies. And then it spawned into beer. And I started making 5 different shows. And we were doing it almost weekly, 5 shows. It's weekly. So 5 shows, 1 day a week. Like I was working 40 hours a week with overtime if needed and grind for 4 years. But it got to the point where it became hard. It became hard to stay consistent. The numbers started dipping because we started dipping in what we were putting out. And it kind of fell apart a little bit. And once everyone kind of realized it was, you know, what it takes to do this and how much effort and time and what you have to sacrifice to make this a thing, especially on my standards, because I'm not doing something and selling everything I love to buy the equipment to half-ass it. Right. So it kind of got to the point where I was like, hey man, let's just separate. Let's just end it because it's a big ask, a big demand. And instead of putting 5 things in one, I've kind of put them all in one platform. And I created the Anthony Blackwell Jr. YouTube channel, which is essentially if you follow Anthony Blackwell Jr. on all social media, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, it's all there. If you can't find Anthony, it's just A Blackwell Jr. I kind of put everything I love into one platform, and then I respawned with a new podcast. And I've interviewed a movie director. I've interviewed a drummer from a band. I have a whole bunch of other stuff lined up. So you're going to see pro wrestling. You're going to see beer. I still want to interview breweries and content creators and still be involved in the beer world, but it's going to be a little different. It's just instead of a full team, it's just going to kind of be me. You may see people from the Bangin' Beers world enter and come hang out if they're available, but for the most part, it's just easier to walk into a place and be like, "Hey, my name's Anthony Blackwell. I'm a content creator. Search my name, you can find me. That's where my stuff is." And instead of being like, well, I do interviews with everybody, like that whole intro we just did where I had to go through 5 shows. Imagine doing that everywhere you go. You know what I mean? It's a lot. So just like, yo, ABJ Podcast. And it's like, oh, one search, you're done. It's a one-stop shop. Easier marketing.
Awesome. Again, yeah, for sure. And again, hit that QR code. You'll be taken to Anthony's link tree. It's awesome that you're giving that platform to people and to share their stories, because you don't know who your story. Oh, Jesus, this beer is making me lisp a little bit. You don't know who your story can affect.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it's awesome that you
empowering.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I meant to say this at the top, but I did not. But shortly after discovered you, as we proceeded to set certain things up, we had several conversations on the side, whether it was about equipment, whether it was about StreamYard, audio, video equipment, whatever. Brett and I spent several hours on the phone with you over a few weeks span, few months. And I just wanted to thank you again for your time. And you're more than gracious with it. And it's been awesome, watching you grow this ABJ podcast.
Yeah, that's what I try to do, man, because I know how hard it is to make money and how hard it is to spend it. Well, how easy it is to spend it, in my case. But I don't want so all that stuff I sold, the stuff I love that I lost, you know what I mean? My goal was I'm gonna get to the point where I can buy it all back and then some. I haven't gotten there yet. But the thing is all that stuff I spent, I didn't research very well, and I bought thousands of dollars worth of equipment that I don't even use anymore because I wasn't an audio guy. I didn't know how to set up cameras. And then I'm like, man, I need to figure this out, how to do this content creator thing, but do it in a way where it makes it easier. And since you spend less time in the editing room and more time creating content. And if I can help other content creators find the right pieces of equipment to find out what they're trying to accomplish, my door's always open to do that. So it was my pleasure, because it was really cool to see you guys go from episode 1 and 2, and then we talk, and then it was a complete change on how you guys were doing things and the way it looked.
Right. Well, you're very generous with your time. We appreciate it. It's been great. So now we're going to dive into, I know I absolutely want to talk about your current projects, but one more thing I wanted to touch on before you kind of merged all those previous things back into ABJ.
Yeah.
Tornado Tag. Dude, first of all, that's an awesome name. I haven't seen that concept used very often. And honestly, one of my first memories is from a video game, dude. Just scrolling through playing the old wrestling video games and seeing that as a game. But so where did that name come from?
So
other than obviously
exactly how you said it. When you're with your buddies and your buddy and you're playing a wrestling video game, if you didn't want to lose to your friend because he was really good, or you were so sick of beating up your friend because he really sucked, tag team mode is where you guys would shine, right? Because you guys can team up and there's no loser. But it's really boring standing on the apron and waiting for the tag. So tornado tag rules means we're all in there at the same time, baby. And where that kind of mixes in a tag team is, instead of waiting your turn to be tagged, sometimes everyone just kind of talks at once.
Hey, yeah, being in this game with 4 of us in CPP, I know exactly what you mean. So,
yeah, sometimes no tag rope needed. Sometimes the beers keep going, and then people just start talking.
I got you.
My wife's thing, what she would do is, because she has headphones on, so she would hear me talking, but she thinks if she whispers into the mic, she can have a conversation with somebody else with headphones on. And I'm like, this is a hot mic. Like, people are listening to you. She's like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, sometimes, times get tough. But the wrestling one, man, I will say, I will never take back anything I did with those five podcasts, because they have created so many friendships and memories and experiences that I would have never had if I never, bought a microphone and put content on the internet. The people I've worked with, I love dearly. It's just hard, man. It's really hard. And like I said, I demand a lot, you know what I mean? And I demand a lot from myself. And I respect people's time and I respect people's effort. And I feel like if we're doing something weekly and it's just not there, or we're not growing, or the only way we can get bigger is we sacrifice more, that's a hard ask for people with lives, So that's kind of why I merged them all together. But the wrestling one, we would just sit and talk wrestling in my kitchen. And then I started getting contacted by wrestling companies like, hey, you should come and do. Actually, I lie. me and my buddy would go to wrestling shows, and on the way home, we would record a podcast reviewing the show we just went to. And then when the promotions then heard it, and then talent then heard it, they liked our takes, they liked our wrestling minds, they liked our voices. So then we started getting gigs being backstage interviewers and commentators and helping with production. And we would bring some of the equipment we were using for podcasting to be the commentary team or to be the camera that helped record the show. So it helped me learn like how to set up a production of a wrestling show. It taught me, like, I learned so much about the business, and to this day I still do wrestling commentary, and I work for like 6 or 7 different companies. I've worked in 3 different states in a year and a half. I've met people like the Rock and Roll Express that I've watched as a kid my entire life, and now I'm backstage and having insane memories and moments. Um,
Dude, no shit. You just covered like 7 questions I had for you.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Do you want to hear a funny Rock and Roll Express story?
Have at it. I would love to.
All right, so they wrestled this tag team called the Stepdads, and their gimmick is they're dads. So they're one, like, if you turn the thermostat up, they Hulk out like, "Don't you turn that thermostat
Oh
up!"
God.
Like their whole thing is they're dads, like they're the dad tag team. So they wrestled Rock and Roll Express. They had a great match. These guys are old as hell, but they're still pulling it off. After the match,
Right.
they're all backstage. Now, Robert on this side is known for a few things, and Ricky is known for a few things backstage. One is being known for being large, and the other one not so much. We'll just leave you to your imagination. So one of them is getting dressed, and I remember 2 people were going over their match, and they were like, "Oh my god!" And then it was a chuckle, the whole 9. So we'll just say Robert was dressed. Robert here is dressed. And the member of the tag team goes, "I'm going to ask them for a picture. We just worked with them. I just want a photo with them. Can you take it if they say yes?" I'm like, "I got you, man." So I have the phone in my hand. I'm standing here like this, and I'm holding the phone. And they go up to Robert and they're like, "Hey, once Ricky's done getting dressed, can we get a photo?" And Robert goes, "Let's get it right now." And Ricky's in nothing but a t-shirt. Ricky's we'll say the smaller story of the 2. So Ricky's pushing down his t-shirt while he's standing in a chair trying to cover himself up. And Robert's laughing because he knows Ricky's taking a photo with no pants on.
Oh
And
God.
they're this old and they're still what they call in the business ribbing or pranking each other.
Yeah.
So everyone in the photo is laughing. And I'm sitting there with the phone and I'm staring right at Hall of Fame history. You know what I mean? And I just kind of put the phone down. I go, "I'm gonna crop it from the waist up. You're good." And he goes, "No problem, brother." And he literally does this and does this. And when he does this, I'm staring into oblivion, and I'm losing it, and they all know what's happening. And it's one of my highlights of being in the backstage.
Oh my God. That is awesome. Dude, dumb question. And I don't know if you went through this. I don't know if this is a phase or maybe something you're just stone cold and you got no reactions. You ever get starstruck, dude? Because I was going through some of your content, dude. Kerry Silkin, Tommy Dreamer, Brian Pillman Jr., The Acclaimed, D'Lo Brown, Johnny Gargano. Just like those are some recent names, some old guys, but that we grew up watching,
Yeah.
So, dude, you can turn on, you can see on TNT or USA, TBS, whatever, any day of the week,
100%.
and it's like, holy shit.
100%. In my head, I'm like, "Oh my God, this is happening." But in reality, I'm just like, "Hey man, great to meet you." But in my brain, the bells are going off. Like,
Oh, man.
Kerry Silken was a big one, and like it got to the point where like I would consider Kerry a friend. Like, we talk. You know what I mean? Like, Kerry has shown up to shows that we're at and was like, "Hey, I heard you guys are going to be here tonight. What's going on?" And then people backstage are like, "Why is Kerry Silken here?" I'm like, "Oh, he came to hang out." Like, and I'm like, "What is my life?" Yeah, I became like that. I became friends with Tessa Blanchard. I meet people that I would consider friends, which is insane to me. The first moment I had where I was really starstruck was I was at a show and I was setting up, and when I first get somewhere and I have to be part of production or I have to be a part of doing other things, I get like really stressed and anxiety and the whole 9. Because I'm not. Fun fact, I'm very socially, like, it's a lot for me to come out of my like the personality you see it's a work. It's hard. It's a character. Because reality, I'd rather just sit in my house all day.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sitting at a show and I'm setting everything up and I'm stressed and I'm freaking out and I get a tap on my butt and all I hear is, "What's going on, baby? How you doing?" And I go, "That's Jimmy Hart." And he just stopped. He just shook my hand and talked to me for 15 minutes as if we were best friends. Never met Jimmy Hart in my life. But he tapped me on the butt and he was like, "What's going on, baby?" I'm like, "I watched you at Hogan when I was a kid." And then a couple months later, I was with Jimmy again at a show, and I was like, "Hey, man, I don't know if you remember me." He's like, "Yeah, from Hamburg, baby. You were at Hamburg." Because I guess the long hair and the beard, he remembered me. So, like, we're sitting in this gym because I didn't have anything to do, and I was like, "Well, Jimmy's sitting by himself. I'm just gonna go stand by him because he's watching TV just to say I had this moment." And I'm standing there, and I'm just like, and we're watching the Bengals playoff football from last year, and me and Jimmy were just talking Bengals football for like 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, "Jimmy, I got to go do commentary, but dude, it was awesome watching football with you." He's like, "Anytime, baby, anytime." And that's how he talks. So I walk away and my buddy's standing there. I'm like, "Go get a chair and go and watch Bengals football with Jimmy Hart just to say you did it." And my buddy's like, "Let me go get a chair." And he said he sat there for hours with Jimmy and just watched football and had a conversation with him and just sat and watched football. Like, dude, it's like this, the
awesome.
the moments are beautiful, man. And like I said, if this were to all end tomorrow, I did a lot of neat stuff, and I'm very thankful for it. And even like in the beer world, getting invited to a brewery and hanging out with people like Guy, you know what I mean? Like, and then that led into like, "Hey, we're doing a wrestling show at the brewery. Who can we get?" And then I contacted them with people in the wrestling world, and then a full production team is there, so it's all recorded and it's on our independent wrestling company where it's guys wrestling on IWTV, and you can see Rusty Rail on an independent wrestling TV network. And now that got bigger for next year. So next year it's going to be even cooler that they're going to have Rusty Rail wrestling. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool that I've helped form different things that people don't even know I was involved in, or help put pieces together to help bring all these different unities and worlds together. I don't know. It's fun. I've had a lot of cool experiences, and it never happened if I didn't buy a fucking microphone. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
No matter how dumb your dream is, go for it, because you never know what's going to lead you. It may not. I never made a dime doing any of this yet, but fucking, I drank a soda with Jimmy Hart and watched Bengals football. That's cool for me.
And you were at Raw this week, correct? Did I see that right?
That's another thing too. Like, I just because you treat people how you want to be treated. I had a fan who I was nice to, and we became friends. Had 2 tickets that were going to go to waste because he couldn't go, and gave me 2 floor tickets to Raw for free. Like,
those aren't cheap.
No. And I'm just like, and the whole time I'm like blown away by how generous he was for it. And he's like, "Yo, they're gonna go to waste. I don't even want money for him. Go and have a good experience." I'm a diehard wrestling fan. I've never been that close to professional wrestling on a major scale like that my entire life. So like, it's been an awesome journey. Like, I don't know. You guys are gonna have these moments, dude. I'm telling you, you're gonna. It's dope. Just keep going.
Hey, if we get to talk to people like you more often than not, then yeah,
I'm still a nobody. I'm just a fan who gets to have cool experiences. You know.
That does. I mean, yeah, you call it what you want. You got to be nice. You got to be polite. Outgoing to people. I got a couple more wrestling notes because I'm a wrestling geek.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I just talk wrestling all day long. Actually, the guy who's on TV right now, I hung out with a couple months ago. Wardlow from AEW.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I don't have it on. But hey. So indie wrestling, give me the star, or the one that is going to maybe blow up and be the biggest star that nobody may know of that you have encountered.
Oh my God, I'm gonna be honest, dude. There's a lot of really talented. Like, people think, like, when they went to an indie show back in the day, like in the 90s and 80s, and you would see these guys and they were just like out of shape, fat mechanics who were just out there flopping around on each other. And you're like, "Oh, this is a joke." You know what I mean? That's not the case of independent wrestling anymore. Everyone's so talented, and the game has changed so much. I'll try to get some in, and if you're watching, my independent wrestling people, do not get upset I didn't say your name. I'll start off right away. A guy I don't even know. I just watched him wrestle twice. I think I said hi to him, but that was it. But there's a kid from Jersey. He wrestles out of H2O, which is like a hardcore deathmatch wrestling company, but he can do more than just that. His name is Rocket. He's unbelievable. He'll be on TV. Another kid from that area, Griffin McCoy, Jordan Oliver. Jordan Oliver is dominating right now in GCW, so he's already kind of getting that exposure. Super talented. A guy from our area. He's a big beer drinker too. Bro Keller. Bro Keller's another one to keep an eye out. Owner of Pilgaroo Brewing Company, co-owner of Bro. He worked for ROH for a while. Tony Deppen, who works for GCW, who worked for ROH. He was an ROH TV champion. He makes beers, and you can go drink his beers in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. He's another one to look out for. Um, Women in the business like Adina Steele, Danny Moe, Christina Marie, all really good, man. The best thing I can do is find out where you live, and if you have a hard time finding it, message me and I'll find it for you. Go support your local independent wrestling. It's so much fun. It's a great place to take kids. It's a great place to just have an experience. And a lot of these wrestling promotions still bring in people from the past to come and sign autographs and meet people. And that's how I meet them, because this company will bring somebody in and they trust me to be like, hey, do you want to work the meet and greet and just sit with this person for 3 hours? And then after 3 hours of sitting with me, either you love me or hate me. I've been lucky enough that they love me, you know? And I have fun conversations and meet cool people. So support your local wrestling. They're out there doing it for pennies on the dollar, but they're just chasing a dream with the opportunity that hopefully someone sees them, just like you would in the music industry or you would in any other industry. They're just grinding.
Right, absolutely. And they're not just bringing in acts of the past either. I mean, you can go and see some people that you see on TV, like, just like if you've experienced, you
Yeah.
can not so much lately, but you can go and see Moxley go, and I think he just ended his relationship with GCW or whatever. But like, you can go see Mox, you can go see a
Yeah.
plethora of guys that you see on TV, or girls too. I don't mean to
This
be like
this
that.
Saturday, I'll be in Broadheadsville in Pennsylvania. They will have Serpentico there. They will have Dalton Castle, former ROH champion there, and they will have Luigi Primo, who's a guy who's kind of blowing up on the independent scene because he has, sorry to use the term here, but he has pizza dough that's fake. It's a prop, but it looks like pizza dough. And he has this. He looks like he's a guy behind that. He has the balding black curly hair. He has a big mustache, and he just flips this dough around while he wrestles. And he's like,
Oh God!
he is so
While
crazy.
he's in the ring.
While he's in the ring, but it's and then he'll throw the dough in their face, like it's crazy. He's hilarious, but he's getting really big on the scene just because he was on AEW not too long ago. But he'll be there at the show, and then on Sunday I'll be in Hazleton at the Sanctuary, and two-time X Division champion, current member of the Bullet Club, Ace Austin will be there. So that will be my weekend of wrestling promotions. But yeah, go support it, man.
Plug all of your shit, because we are here all for it. I got one question on that note. I saw Contest of Champions coming up, and you're affiliated with that. Give me a little info on that.
Yeah, so Contest of Champions is going to be a convention where you can go and meet people. It's also going to be a wrestling show after. But if you buy a ticket for the convention, you also get a ticket to the show so you can hang out afterwards. But before the convention, if you're in the business, they're actually doing a seminar. And this isn't really open to the public, but the seminar is going to have a commentary seminar, a backstage interviewer seminar, and it's going to actually have matches going on where people can go and try out. And there's going to be people from a bunch of representations of companies like New Japan and GCW and a lot of independent wrestling companies. So it's actually a way for us to get noticed and possibly get more work and climb higher up this ladder. Unfortunately, I'm not on the commentary team. My buddy Pete DeLong is, who deserves it, and he's so amazing. He's the guy who's been helping me grind, and he'll be doing commentary with Kevin Kelly, who used to be the commentator and backstage interviewer for WWE, currently working for New Japan Wrestling and New Japan Strong. But I'll be hosting the con, so I'll be walking around during the con and telling people who's at the event and talking to people and doing quick interviews and just being a host. And Sting is the main attraction of the con. What is my world, right? Right? So Sting will be there. Matt Cardona will be there. Brian Myers will be there. I'm just going off memory. Sergeant Slaughter, Jerry the King Lawler. If you're a UFC fan, Frankie Edgar will be there. He's a Jersey guy.
Wasn't there a football player or something on opposite of Frankie Edgar on the poster?
A baseball player, but I don't know
baseball.
baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should have read it down. It slips my mind. But hell, what exposure that's going to be.
There's a lot of people, a lot of people. They're still booking more that are going to be at this con. And yeah, they asked me to come and host it. And I got a graphic and stuff, which is insane because I got to look. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just fun. I'm so thankful. Like I said, I didn't think any of this would be a thing, but I eat it up. I'm having fun, and I'm thankful for the opportunities.
Now,
that's going to be in Toms River, New Jersey, December 3rd.
Gotcha.
I think so.
Toms River, New Jersey. So are you just booking with whatever promotion you can
No, whoever reaches out and asks. I mean, there is a few I have turned down, but for the most part is if you reach out and I think it works out and it's a fair deal for me to go do it. I'll come do it. I'm not traveling is has been tough. It's a lot of wear and tear in the car, and if you're trying to book me for like 300 matches in one day, and you're like, hey, I'll give you $10 to talk for 5 hours. It's like that's a little. Let's talk. You know what I mean?
Thank you for bringing it up because I remember seeing one of your posts. You did 100 matches in a day, or was that a weekend,
No, no, no.
or what was that?
I did 100 matches in a month. I don't know if that's
Oh
an
shit! Okay.
exact. I don't know if that's an exact number, but it's got to be close. I did a show every weekend. Some shows I did 2 shows on one weekend, but we went to this promotion in New Jersey called IWA. They're really really cool, Intense Wrestling Alliance. But when they got there, they were supposed to have a bunch of people like rotating in and out of commentary and pulling the curtain back a little bit. They were doing interviews with not interviews. They were doing wrestling that they were going to film like weekly content. So they were filming like 49 matches or 39 matches in one day. And then they're going to break it up into different segments and air it on YouTube as a weekly television show from now till whenever they run again. Um, when we got there and we start doing it, we just started doing commentary and no one ever relieved us. So we just did every single match, which was like 39 matches, and then did the show 2 hours after, which was another 11 match card. So we did like 49 matches or something like that in 39 or 49 matches in one day. We were beat. We didn't talk the whole way home. We were just
Walk us through the prep. Like, what is that prep like? As for someone who doesn't know much
so
about that side.
what I do or what I've learned to do, if I'm with my buddy Pete, he'll do a lot of the legwork because I don't me going like I'll kind of walk around with him sometimes, but sometimes I don't want to overstep and have like two people bombarding stuff. But we usually what we'll do is we'll get together and we'll go to the talents that we don't know. And we'll say, or even the ones we do know, we'll just say, hey man, what are you guys gonna work on in this match? What storyline are you trying to tell? And then like if I come to you, I'm like, Ben, what's your wrestling name? Where are you build out of? Um, what can we get out of you that like who have you worked? Have you won titles anywhere? What are some accomplishments? What are you trying to get over as a character so we can put over that story on commentary? So we make notes like that. Then we'll go to the promoter and be like, hey, is there anything big tonight that you want us to really hype up or really put over in the story? And a lot of it, dude, like the stuff that we've done in commentary, they just let us go. They trust us. They like what we do, and they let us. Some promoters don't even tell us who's winning. They want it to just be like a natural reaction.
Now, do you think that's like a respect for you, respect for your work, or is
I
it
I
just like
I
trust? Or
for a long time, I thought that they just a lot of places just didn't care about commentary, and they were just happy to have people there doing it. But I would like to think it's the respect or the trust or that they believe in us and they like what we're gonna do. Um, because I'm definitely not orthodox. I'm not what you would normally hear as a commentator. I don't know if you've ever heard my commentary, but I crack jokes. I don't really play the heel thing. The closest that I would compare myself to, and the only reason I do is because this is what I was trying to do as a person in the business before he got big doing it. But essentially, Pat McAfee, where he's not a character, he's Pat McAfee. If you listen
my
to Pat
God,
McAfee, he's Pat McAfee here, he's Pat McAfee there, he's Pat McAfee anywhere he goes, and
all the time.
that's my personality. Like I feel like when the camera's on, who I am right now is the same person if the camera was off. If you meet me in public, I'm the same person everywhere I am. Love me or hate me, I'm me. And I bring that to the commentary world. So sometimes I go crazy and I say weird things and I make jokes or I take like but if the match calls for it to be serious, obviously I buckle down and I get serious and I get the story across. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I do.
I mean, I know there's kayfabe in the wrestling industry. There's just brewing companies putting on a certain face to be nice to the patrons, whatever. But we need more of that genuine, that genuine side of people.
And
So
that's essentially what my platform has always been about and always will be about. Even when I was doing those 5 shows, I felt like I was genuinely me the entire time the microphone was on, the time the camera was on. Who I am right now is who you're always going to experience, and it. I mean, I'm not rich and famous, but I feel like the following I do have is the reason they follow me is because of that genuineness.
absolutely. Go ahead and plug your two recent episodes of the ABJ podcast, if you don't mind.
Episode 1 was Andrew Pizzo. He was the writer, director, creator, and funder of the movie Back Road the movie. Spoiler like trigger warning if grotesque violence and possible strong sexual content is offensive to you, use your imagination. It's a horror movie. Upsets you, probably not your movie. But it's a guy from Pennsylvania who literally, once again, chasing his dream and made a horror movie that has been banned from Amazon, banned from Shutter, banned from Germany, banned like he had to find secondary resources to get his movie published, and it's completely home done. And I thought it was a pretty cool movie for being homegrown. That's the first interview, and the second interview is my buddy Javi Torres. He's the drummer of Faith's Got a Driver, which, Ben, you're not the first person who told me this before the camera came on, that I've been listening to the band since that podcast. That means so much to me. Thank you. But they're a band that my buddy Randy's a part of. He's a lead singer, and they're on their second album. They've been grinding since 2018, and they've been always super supportive of me. And it was a good interview with him to learn about how he became a drummer and how he got into the industry and what to expect with the new album. And I have more stuff coming. On Monday, I'll be live again on 7:00, and it's a live stream podcast. So it's something you can listen to in your car while you're driving, or you can watch on YouTube. But the next one will be the creators of Wrestling Over Everything clothing line, which is a clothing line that supports local wrestlers, and they have like talent, and they have sponsored athletes.
Awesome.
Hopefully they may make me a sponsored athlete. Kind of cool.
There you go. There you go, dude. It's just it's awesome stuff what you're doing. I watched both of those shows recently, and whether you're into the grotesque shit, whatever, but good dude behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then the drummer, man, again, talking about his family, talking about his job on the road. It's like, dude, everybody has a story behind what they're trying to push. So it's great that you're giving them a platform to go out and tell the people. And that's what we're trying to do here, really, too. So
absolutely,
thank you for sharing your story.
I appreciate you. If you do check out the Linktree, I do have a sign-up sheet as well that I kind of pulled from these guys because I didn't know that you can do that on Linktree, so they taught me how to do it. So thank you guys for helping me. But there's a sign-up sheet where you can sign up to be a guest on the podcast as well, and we'll collaborate and have some fun.
Got you. So once again, guys, you can follow us at Central PA Poor on all your platforms, whether it's social media or wherever you get your podcasts. Scan that QR code in the bottom left. Find all of Anthony's stuff he's got going on there, whether it's YouTube channel, subscribe to that, merch, sign up to be one of his shows, or watch the content that he's created. Go ahead and go do that. And thank you very much for tuning in. We've had a good bit of an interactive crowd here tonight.
That half-hour stop mark, Jesus, we blew that.
Dude, yeah, we doubled that. But hell, it doesn't matter. It was a good time. Hey, you're right. I can't knock that. You're right. But hey, it's great stuff. It's always great stuff talking to you. I really appreciate your time and all the help that you've given us so far.
And I'll be on a full episode of the CPP very, very soon.
Yes,
stay tuned.
That is right. But
we're gonna go drink with the boys in the basement.
Hooking that one up with Brett coming soon. So thanks again, Anthony. I appreciate it. Guys, check out his stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. We're going to wrap this up. Take care, everybody. If you want to be on the show, hit that Linktree. Sign up and every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Mix of Six Live, episode number 1. We are out. Thank you for tuning in.